Welcome back to the Data Protection Diaries and welcome back to the vlog. In today's video we're going to do something a little slightly different, something we haven't done in a while. And I wanted to pick up on this because it's something that I've seen around and about and on social media and a couple of other places, and it's a question that often comes across our desk, which is what is more important in the role of being a DPO, experience or qualifications? There's obviously two sides to that story. There's the people that feel that qualifications are most important, people that feel that experience is most important, and then obviously there's that middle ground where actually some people believe that a bit of both is what's important for everybody. So today that's what we're going to look at. Before we get into that, if you are new to the channel, please do make sure that you hit that subscribe button, and also make sure that you like this video as well, because it just really helps us to get this video out, get this message out to much more people, and allows much more people to see the content. But anyway, for now, let's get on with what we want to talk about. So the topic for today is qualifications versus experience. Now, it's an interesting challenge because it isn't necessarily qualifications versus experience, but there have been a couple of conversations lately and a couple of discussions online where there have been two really very clear camps. There's been a very clear camp that's saying to be an effective DPO, you have to have certain qualifications. And the other side of the coin, where they're saying to be an effective DPO, qualifications are not important, and actually it's the level of experience of the DPO that is most important. Now, the first thing that I feel that is necessary to point out here is that during my career and during the time that I've been operating and working in data protection as a DPO, as an information governance manager, information governance officer, etc., over the past 11 years, I have come across challenges whereby I have been perceived to either not have enough experience or I don't have the correct qualifications. And there have been times when I've been deemed as appropriate or deemed as having a perfect blend of the two. So I feel like I'm in a good place to comment on this. The first thing that I think is important here is that it doesn't really matter what you're talking about, whether you're talking about the role of a DPO, whether you're talking about a lorry driver, whether you're talking about learning to drive, or whether you're talking about a doctor. Qualifications and experience are very, very complementary. It is impossible for somebody to go out and get a qualification without any experience of the activity or experience of the subject that they are trying to get qualified in. To be able to pass a test on something, to be able to achieve a qualification on something, you have to have some level of experience. So what we're talking about here today is operational experience rather than academic experience or knowledge or reading. And that's probably the first important thing to point out. When we're talking about experience, a lot of people perceive that as being within an organization, advising on a day-to-day basis, and really being at the coalface and understanding how regulations like the GDPR, understanding how governance processes like records management or ISO 27001 or whatever it is really affect and operate within an organization on a day-to-day basis. Because many practitioners will tell you that just because the regulation or just because a law says something in black and white, that isn't necessarily how it always plays out in a commercial or business environment. That kind of experience when you're operating as a data protection officer or you're looking to appoint one is really, really important, because that is where you get that cultural understanding, that is where good risk management comes from, and that is where you find how to move around and understand the complexities of a compliance-based approach and a regulation that needs to be adhered to, while also being able to maintain a commercial or corporate mindset of how to actually apply those regulations or that law into an organization. That's not to say that qualifications then don't have a part in all of this. Of course they do. There's a range of qualifications out there and which are available to data protection officers. Three of the main ones are obviously the CIPPE, which comes from the International Association of Privacy Professionals, the CIPPM, which is a privacy management qualification, and then there is the more specific BCS Data Protection Certificate. Now, this is a more tailored course in my particular view, and when I took it 5 or 6 years ago, it was a 3-hour exam. It included essay questions, it included multiple choice, and it was very, very detailed. I believe, I haven't sat the IAPP, but I believe it is multiple choice, but I also believe it requires a lot of study and a lot of hard work. Outside of these particular courses, you also have information rights law degrees, and there are some other, obviously more localized or generic data protection officer training courses. So there is a huge amount of opportunity out there for DPOs to get qualified should they want to. So should a DPO be looking to get a qualification, or should they be looking to gain experience? Really, that is the million-dollar question. As I've already stated, for me to start going for a qualification, you have to have a level of experience, a level of understanding, a level of knowledge. To be able to advise an organisation, you have to have an understanding not just of the rules that you're applying, but how those rules can be applied to different organisations. One of the interesting conversations that often happens around individuals' experience in this space is actually that because of the way the regulation operates and because of the different sensitivities of information that are collected by organisations across the world, your experiences of working for one particular organisation or one particular sector of organisations may not actually put you in the best stead for working in a different sector or a different organisation. So when you're looking at social and healthcare, for instance, the controls, the requirements, the information that is being processed and the way the regulation is applied to those things is vastly different to working in a more commercially focused organisation, for instance. And again, that is a completely different sidetrack to individuals who want to specialise in privacy law. So people who specifically want to be trained and qualified as a lawyer and then want to deal specifically in privacy law. It is worth noting that for the purposes of this video, we are sort of parking that legalistic privacy lawyer section, because very obviously you cannot be a lawyer if you don't have the appropriate qualifications, and we are focusing on the practitioner side of the role, so people who are in the organisations doing the do and helping and assisting organisations in that fashion. My advice for anybody looking to get into data protection, looking to get into a role of a data protection officer, looking to further their career in this field, is primarily at the early stages, especially if you are in-house and within an organisation already, try and shadow somebody that's already carrying out the role. Try and get a better grasp of your organisation's data structures. Do some reading, grab a copy of the GDPR, get it printed off, get it bound. It is one of the most valuable resources you will ever have. You can then start to use that information to make your own assumptions, your own assertions. Start to understand how the regulation may apply to your organisation. Once you've done that, then, for me, then it is time to start looking at qualifications and what qualifications you think you may need to further your knowledge, but also to further your opportunities in terms of a career. Because let's be honest, out there are some organisations that want to know that you have both the experience and the qualifications, and you can demonstrate that by having qualifications, and that gives people comfort. So let's not take away from that, because qualifications have their place in this world for exactly that reason. Personally, what I am against is individuals that just go straight out, pick up a qualification, take the IAPP course, take the BCS course, and then try and insert themselves into a data protection officer role. The requirement under the General Data Protection Regulation, under the GDPR, for a DPO is that they have to have a deep technical understanding of the regulation, but they also have to have suitable experience. And that, for me, is something that you can't buy. It's something that you can't get a certificate for. It just takes time, and you have to put the effort into it to get where you need to be. So in summary, is experience or qualification better for it being an effective DPO? The answer is neither. But for me, you can't have one without the other. Your primary focus should be on gaining experience, gaining knowledge, gaining understanding. And once you've got that, you can then look to improve, you can look to get better. And once you've got better, then you can look at how you can qualify that experience and knowledge with those qualifications and get the stamp that you need to further your career in the industry. As always, this has been a fairly succinct view of the world, but if you have found this video useful or you find it interesting, please do give us a like, subscribe to the channel, or comment down below on whether you think qualifications or experience are more important and why. And we'll look forward to speaking to you again soon. Thanks very much.